Hello, my name is Rina Gill. I'm an SEC candidate for Surrey City Council. I'm here today on 137th Street in the Newton area of Surrey. This is actually my neighborhood. This is where I live. I'm a small business owner and I frequent this area quite often. And I've come to realize in the past, I would say 8 months or so, from the beginning of this year, these parking meters have been installed. And this has caused an outrage amongst the business owners that are based here on 137th Street. There's been notes, letters of editors to the media. There's been tons of complaints. There's been petitions signed, and nothing has been done. My question is, why is the City of Surrey penalizing the small business owners along 137th Street? Oftentimes what tends to happen are many people that frequent this area, if it's two people in a car, one person will actually stay in a car to avoid the parking meter fee, which I have to say is not a wrong thing to do because these fees are just totally unacceptable. And the parking area in the shopping mall behind 137th Street, there is free parking there, but if you're not going to any of the shops in that area, you're more likely to get a ticket. And from talking to some of the folks along this street, they have actually told me that the parking enforcement officer is quite strict. I heard a story about the fact that there's a pita pit down the road and a young lady went in, stopped her car, ran in quickly to order a pita for $6-7 and came out to find a $45 ticket on her car. That's just not fair. Actually, I think that's the parking enforcement guy right there waiting to see who he can prey on next. As you can see, going across the street, there are 3 to 4 parking spots right in front of MLA Harry Baines' office, and they're not being used. So people who need help in the community, who want to come visit their local MLA, are probably deterred from the fact that there is a parking meter fee that they have to acquire. Hi there, I'm now here with Harry from the UPS store, and Harry's been instrumental in fighting the parking meters being installed on 137th Street, and he's just going to walk us through some of the process and some of the trials and tribulations he's had to endure along the way. Hi Harry, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us from the beginning when the parking meters were installed, and basically were you consulted and were the other business owners consulted?
Yes, the business owners, everyone got a letter saying that there is going to be a new process in place, which is the parking meters being set up.
Okay.
After that, we did have some discussions. We provided a petition to the city officials stating that we do not want the parking meters, and the customers in this area are not the high-income customers who can afford to pay parking, and they did not like the idea of paying and coming and doing business with us.
Mm-hmm. Harry, I had mentioned earlier that I'm actually living in the Newton area and I frequent this area a lot as well, and I myself find, free parking. I tend to drive around looking for free parking, and I'm very hesitant to be parking in the meters. It's just not cost effective at all. Mm-hmm. Now, do you notice a decline in the number of customers coming into your store?
Oh, for sure. Actually, if you take the camera that side, you'll find more than 80% of the stalls are pretty much empty. And we recently gathered a complete petition from the business owners, which we handed over to the city officials, telling them how much business has been lost. The average loss of business has been between 10 and 15%. And that has not been because of the economy going down or because of the demographics changing, or as the city says, it could be just because of the season. But you see, we have about 3 franchises on this road. The UPS store, we had the Esquire's coffee shop, we have Barcelos, and we have people with multiple shops, and they have been able to compare with the other stores of the same category as to how they are faring. Is it only in our area, the complete area, or all over the country? And we have come to the conclusion that it is just because of the pay parking that all of us have been affected.
That's unfortunate. Well, I know you have some ideas, some suggestions on a solution that can fix this problem. Would you like to share that with us?
Sure. What we suggested to the city officials, now that the parking has come in, just as a gesture for the small businesses, because the small businesses do not require the customers to come in for an hour. If we suggested that if you have the free parking or 15 minutes free parking on all the stalls. Initially on our request, they gave us 15 minutes free parking, 1 in 10 kind of a solution they had. So what we were requesting then, that in case they make all the parkings free for 15 minutes, that will save the businesses their customers, and the city still gets their way of having revenue and avoiding congestion on the road.
Now, my solution, Harry, would be to take it out altogether. But we can get into a long discussion about the pros and cons of doing that, since it's already been implemented and there was a cost associated with installing these parking meters. I'm sure it costed the city a lot of money to do that. So one point that you made earlier when we were talking is that the signage in the area was not very clear for very long until you raised that point to the city of Surrey, that people weren't even aware that there's parking fees, there's parking meters here.
You see, the people are not used to parking.
Exactly.
Not used to paying. They are used to paying for parking in case there is a enclosed lot or something like that. On the street, this is the first time, so obviously they're taking it unawares. So they just see a board on one corner of the street. They don't even look at it. They presume it just says that parking. So we did request the city did agree to our request, and they put out a couple of extra boards for that. But still, it's basically because the people don't know, and what's happening is most of the people are landing up paying a penalty, and they get tickets, and they don't even know, and they're obviously more perturbed than just having to pay a few pennies to get a parking ticket.
And you, being the compassionate business owner that you are, you even mentioned a few examples of physically challenged people coming to park here and not having access to the parking meters.
Oh yes, it is very tough. You see, if they come, they park in front of the store, they expect to walk into the store, but the parking meters are not the ones like in downtown where you have a parking meter right in front of the car. Yes, this is the latest state-of-the-art technology, but there is a limited or no access to the physically challenged people.
Well, all of these points have been taken. As you know, I'm running for Surrey City Council with the SEC, and I've just met Harry for the first time from the UPS store, and he shared his thoughts on the parking meters on 137th Street. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye-bye.
So as you can see behind me, there are even more empty parking spots on 137th Street. So the purpose of me coming out here today and talking about this issue is that it's been ongoing for quite some time. I've heard complaints from the business owners. I've heard complaints from people that are parking here, and people that are actually trying to park free parking to avoid the parking meter cost. My name is Rina Gill. I'm running for Surrey City Council with the Surrey Civic Coalition. I promise you that if I get elected to council on Saturday, November 19th, this will be one of my priorities. You know why? Because this is my neighborhood. I live in Newton, and I care about the people that live in all town centers in Surrey, and I don't think this was a smart choice to put parking meters on this street. And I hope that the city of Surrey acknowledges this after watching this video. Thank you.